Jack, Jill, Genevieve. So hopefully you guys saw Catherine's email. She can't make it today, but those are great pictures of Paris. Okay, let's do a little silk reeling. Head turns. And center. And head rolls. And down to center and reverse. And down to center and back up. Forward spinal wave. And reverse. And good. The windmill. And good. And squats, starting on the left leg. Guys, if squats are uncomfortable for you, do what Genevieve does. Sit in a chair and don't put so much pressure on your knees, etc. If you can do them, that's great because they're very good for you. Left leg. And the right leg. And the left leg again. And the right leg again. And prayer position. Okay, hands on the knees, up slowly. Keep your head down a moment. Okay, we're going to do shoulder reels, but before we do, I want to put my Tron outfit on because I want to talk about a principle here. Actually, I shouldn't put them out there. I should put them in here. In fact, I'm going to keep them off a minute. Where are your shoulders? Where is your arm attached to your body? Your trunk. Right? Yeah, exactly. In here. It's not out here. In here. Right? The hips and the shoulders are cognate. Right? When you do shoulder reels, now there's two ways to do shoulder reel. Really light and a little bit more, with a little more oomph in there. It's okay to do it either way. But I'm going to show you the more intense way of doing it. This is the real way of doing it in China. Here in the United States, we tend to do it the easy way. And the easy way means you're basically not using your hips. All right? The biggest muscles in your body are in your legs and your butt. So if you're not exercising those, you're sort of not getting 60% of the exercise. However, if you are exercising them, it's much more difficult. So you guys individually need to judge what it is you want to do, what you're comfortable doing, etc., etc. But basically the idea is this. Let's look at the right side. If I'm going to roll my shoulder, then I also need to roll my hip. Now, what does it mean to roll your hip? Remember, every exercise has four energies in it. Peng, Jianan, or every circle, rather. Right? Peng. The shoulders in peng, but so is the hip. Peng. Lu. Right? Lu, turning on your own axis, but so is the hip. Now, here's the one that in the United States everybody ignores. On. All right? The shoulder goes down, but so does the hip. Now, when the hip goes down, you're going to require the lower body to do a lot more work. And since those are big muscles, it's going to feel like it's a lot more work because it is a lot more work. Peng. Lu. On. Qi. Peng. Lu. On. Qi. So in other words, the lower body is working. All right? I'm going to ignore my shoulders for right now and just work my lower body. Oh, well, that's 10 times more work than just rolling your shoulders. So when we do a shoulder reel, the softer, easier way to do it, and it's okay to do it this way, is essentially to focus on the upper body. And there's a little movement down below, but it's not that much. That's how we've been doing it. Right? There's a little on there, right? Pong, Lu, on, Ji. Pong, Lu, on, Ji. But it's very small. The more intense way of doing it is essentially to do bigger on. It's a lot more work. So again, I'm going to leave it up to you guys to make your own judgments about what you want to do. But if you're going to do it the more intense way, there's two things you need to pay attention to. Your knees and your pelvis here. All right? If you're going to do bigger on, you're going to engage your knees a lot more. That's one of the big reasons this is much more intense, right? You're really going to engage the knees. And when you do that, you need to structure your knees in a certain way. I'm putting those white dots to the outside of my kneecaps. All right, so my kneecaps are here. I'm putting to the outside because that's where your knees need to go. Not this. It needs to be this. All right, that's what makes the horse stance. It's a lot easier on your knees. Let me show you a trick. When you're doing squats, all right, so we do them, we actually do a yoga move there, Malasena, right? Where I call it prayer position. You're doing prayer position, right? And you're down there for a minute or so, right, you're stretching everything out. And now you got to get back up. How do you do it without hurting your knees or yourself, right? Put your hands on the outside of your knees and press inward. Don't collapse your knees, just press inward and let that help you come up. Jill, try it. Press inwards, come up. Could you notice a difference? Say yes, even if you didn't. Yeah, good. All right. It's a small thing, but it kind of all goes together, right? So now watch my knees when I'm doing the shoulder rolls. They go out. They go out to the side, not 90 degrees, but at about 45 degrees. Right? Now, the advantage of that there's a lot of advantages, but one of the advantages is what it does for your hip joints. It's going to open your pelvis, and that allows your hip joints to roll. Okay. That makes the shoulder rolls are more than shoulder rolls. They're really shoulder and hip rolls. All right. Now this is true for all the exercises. If you can engage your lower body, again, you need to judge how much effort you can put in. You don't want to rack yourself up. You should, if you start going from the really easy to the more intense version of this, do it slowly over a period of a couple of weeks. and kind of bring things up. But if you can do the more intense version of this, you will find that your legs and your abdomen and your lower back, your whole pelvic area, is going to get much stronger really quickly. All right, but it's up to you. Let's do the shoulders. Left foot forward, right? Reverse, sink and roll. The shoulder and the hip is rolling. The knees are going out at 45 degrees. All right, reverse. Sink. Okay, that's 4 or 5 times more difficult than just doing this. Right? You're engaging the whole body. The other side. Sink. Um, One of the other things that you can check on while you're doing the shoulder reels are very good for this, is are you sinking in both sides of the quad? There's a temptation, because you're working one side of the body, there is a temptation to lower the quad on one side, but actually raise it on the other side. From the martial point of view, that's not good. All right, you're raising your chi. Let me demonstrate. All right, watch this one. Bude, not correct. All right, both the quad need to stay down. I'm trying to find the right language. You have to stretch the quad. I got to get a bungee cord in here, but all right. You're gonna stretch this quad, but there's a difference between stretching it and raising it. This is raising it. If you do that, it's essentially going to kind of almost throw you over backwards. So you got to keep one side down and just stretch it. Does this make sense? Okay. That takes a little concentration. And reverse. It's actually a version of Shuling Dingjing Qi Chen Dan Qian. when we talk about that principle, we're focusing on the central column most of the time. All right. So the question is, well, how can I raise myself up for whatever purpose and still stay grounded? It's very easy to raise yourself up and now you're tipping over backwards. So the solution to that is, yes, something does come up, but something goes down at the same time. So yeah, I'm raising my shu, but I'm lowering my chi. So I'm going to get taller, right? But I'm not ungrounding myself. In other words, I'm not raising both of them. When I raise one, I lower the other. That's the stretch I'm talking about. All right? Yeah, I'm stretching, but I'm grounded on this one side. This is the same principle applied now instead of to the central column, well, or in addition to the central column, you're applying the same thinking to the qua. How can I stretch my qua and not pull it out of the ground so I'm falling over backwards? Now you think that falling over backwards, well, who's going to fall over backwards? Well, you probably won't, unless you're pushing hands with somebody. Because if I'm pushing hands with you, the one thing that I'm going to listen to is your qua. Because everybody does this. They lift their own root out of the ground. And all you got to do, honest to God, all you got to do is just push them with one finger and they fall over backwards. Right? And it's not necessary. Right? Just remember, when you stretch one of the qua, you also have to root that qua. So it's exactly the same as this, right? Now it's happening on this side. Make sense? Okay. I don't remember if we finished on this side, but let's do it again. The shoulder reels are really good for studying this in yourself because they invite you to do it incorrectly. Almost everybody does this incorrectly. All right? And they pull their own root up out of the ground. All right, well, okay, that's the danger in the shoulder reels. So now that gives you the opportunity to figure out how to do it correctly. All right? Watch. It's still rolling, but it's not coming up like this. Right? It's stretching and rolling. And reverse. And feet side by side. Left side rolls, right side rolls, left side rolls, right side rolls, right? Left side roots, right side roots, 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 left side stretches, right side stretches, stretch, stretch, stretch. So I'm sure you can see these are not physically really difficult exercises. It's not like lifting a 200-pound weight, but they're really intense. Wow, you have to figure out how to do all this stuff, and then you have to monitor it. so that you're doing it right. And it'll take, for most people, it takes about 2 years to get this. You can understand what I'm talking about. It's not that hard. But to get the coordination in your body so that it all works for you right takes some months and maybe even a couple of years. Double. This particular part of the exercise is classic for ungrounding yourself. Watch. You're on your tiptoes. You're already throwing yourself over. These have to go down when these come up. And look what happens in between. Watch how it stretches. And reverse. Same thing here. Ground yourself. Watch between here and here. Stretch. Stretch. Open. Close. Open. Close. Open. Close. But both the hips and the shoulders are also rolling. So studying silk reeling, like what we're doing here, is like studying the subatomic particles in nature. They're not even atoms, they're subatomic. They're the things that make up the atoms. All right? And then you take the atoms and you make up molecules, those are called Tai Chi moves, and you take the Tai Chi moves, the molecules, and you put them together into a macromolecule, and that's a form. All right? Watch, right? Watch these guys. Close. Open. Open. Those have to go down as these come up. Open. Close. Close even more. Open. Close. Open. Close. Open. Well, when you open this, you better drop these two. Close. Open. Close. Right? So when you study the shoulder reels, you're truly studying one of the basic principles of how to use the body. And not just the trunk, but the arms and the legs too. Questions? No questions. Jill, you must have a question.
No questions at the moment.
No questions. Okay. Well, you must have a really good teacher who explains everything perfectly, right? Okay. This same principle, although it's really going to show up in the shoulder reels, but it's going to show up in every other exercise too. Doesn't matter what exercise it is, you're still going to be using this. If in all the rest of the exercises you can also engage your lower body, you're going to get more than twice the benefit from the exercises. You're going to get 4 or 5 times the benefit because it's just much more difficult. However, as I said, be a little careful about getting into that much more intense phase. Just come into it very slowly and very gently. All right. Let's do a few exercises for the elbow. You're going to be focusing on the elbow, but yeah, this stuff also happens, right? Stretch, stretch. Oh, sink, sink. They're coming together. Stretch. And what you realize is 90% of the movement is in here. This is just a little icing on the cake, right? And in fact, functionally, the elbow strikes won't work very well without this inner core work. If you just try to just use your arm, say from your shoulder to your elbow, one, there's no power in it. 2, you can't aim anything. And 3, you're liable to throw your shoulder out or damage yourself. But if instead of doing like this, right, your whole body is doing it, okay, now when you do it, there's no strain on your shoulder because the energy is being created in here, not in the shoulder. And it just passes through the shoulder almost passively. The shoulder's almost passive. Whole body. What about your aim? Do it gently from the shoulder. It's, yeah, Jack's having the same reaction I'm having. It's really herky-jerky. It just jerks you around. It jerks your spine. And you don't have very good aim. But when you use your whole body, right, now I can aim it exactly where I want. And there's no herky-jerky going on. Right? How about the other side? Open, close, open, close, open, close. All right, when I'm opening, my hips are going down. Watch the Danshin. You see that wiggle? I'm not making it wiggle, it's just happening. There's no strain on my shoulder. I'm going to guess that that it would be very uncomfortable to receive this elbow. Not my arm doing this, my body. So it's much more efficient. It's painless. It doesn't jerk you around inside your body. You can aim it, and it's much more functional. All right. Now, we're supposedly not becoming martial artists here, but think about the use of your body in those terms. You're going to use your body more efficiently, you're going to be aiming better, and you're going to relieve a lot of your joints of the strain. The two joints, there's 5 places where people screw themselves up: the shoulders, the knees, and the lower back. And that's because in every case, they're loading those joints with way more weight, so to speak, than those joints can handle. The way to avoid that is to use your whole body and not those particular joints. So when you're studying silk reeling, you're just getting yourself used to moving this way, so that then when you go into other forms of Qigong or into Tai Chi, it just happens automatically. You don't have to think about it. Questions? Okay, guys, have yourselves a good day. We'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.